Need one of those clipperboard things.
Yeah.
It says, love my pups, my British black. Boing. All right, here we go. JF said,
101.
I did the OFA test for the exact reason that nobody does it. I especially like that they now post DNA health testing. I have learned that people in this business can be shady. Yeah, well, I mean...
You think?
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that, you know, how often do you find a perfect Frenchie? We were talking about this today because we saw a Frenchie that came in from
Every
Lithuania.
one of my Frenchies I can pick apart.
Yes, exactly. They've all got something that's just not perfect, right?
But you make it up with the others, you know, the other sex to the dog.
But the point here is that people are not going to tell you about their flaws. You've got to look at things in a critical manner with videos and information to find out exactly that you're getting what you hope. So, I mean, it's not necessarily, it's kind of like, it's like, you know, selling a used car. You know, they're not going to tell you everything that maybe they should. So I'm not saying that people are shady, but I mean, you know, you just got to do your homework.
Well, then there's a lot of new people out there that don't have a clue.
They don't know, right?
What their DNA is of their dogs or their puppies.
Yeah, they've got to learn. They've got to learn.
And then when they do go get a DNA done, they have no clue if it's right or wrong because they're not going to question animal genetics because they don't know what they're supposed to get.
So what Tammy says is, you know the genetics on your dog, so you know a good idea about what the puppy should be, and if something comes up that's like, that can't be so, you know it, and you say, hey, animal genetics, please retest.
We've had to do that a few times.
Yeah, not often.
Send it back. Well, not send it back, but they just redo it for you.
Yep.
And it's no extra charge because it was their mistake.
Nicola Pan. My 6-day-old puppies have some blood and mucus in their stool. What could that be the reason? I've been bottle feeding them with puppy powder milk because the mother still isn't producing enough. Well, typically, Tammy, what do you... I mean, I'll give you a description of what... There's two things that you can see that's very common, coccidia and giardia. And giardia tends to be more mucousy with some stringy blood in it. And it has kind of a metallic smell, doesn't it?
I remember when I first saw it, I thought, oh, parvo.
Yeah, right.
And
yes.
My vet laughed at me, and he says, Tammy, you always think the worst. And I said, well, it's my babies.
Yeah, you're not going to get parvo in 6-day-old puppies. It's a gestation period longer than that anyway. But the point here is it's really a little early for that too. But I would do this. And you can order this on our website. I would do what's called a snap test, where you can just simply order a parvo test kit. It's a little cassette. You take a little bit of the poop, you put it up into a little bottle of fluid that comes with the test, swirl it around, a little pipette that comes with the test, suck up a little bit of it, drop it in the window, wait 5 minutes. If it's giardia, metronidazole treatment. If it's coccidia, which is another likely thing, which you're probably going to have to go to the vet and do a fecal flotation for that one because it's not a test for it. The treatment for that one is Albon
and you have to give it, what, 7 to 10 days on Albon?
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it a pretty good, you got a pretty good chunk of it. I mean, typically you don't see that in 5-6-day-old puppies, but the point here is, here's what I recommend always is, start taking your puppy's weight. Weigh them every day. If they're not gaining weight, get concerned in a hurry. First day they'll lose half an ounce, next day they'll stabilize, day 3 they should be gaining half an ounce. If they're not gaining weight, with the young puppies, time to go to the vet and find out what the heck's going on. And if they've got mucousy, bloody diarrhea, then I mean it's time to also find out what's going on, either with an in-house giardia test or a fecal test at your vet. Alright. 33mm photos. Are you two going to be doing an in-class whelping course? Well, I'd fly out and pay. Well, hey, so we are, I'm talking about this last few videos, we are doing teachable courses. They're not available yet, but we will be doing teachable courses. And it is a prescription, it is a subscription-based model, so there will be, you've got to pay some money for it, but I mean, it's going to be packed full of great information. And I will give you information as soon as that's available. I'm hoping within a month or so. Also, 33mm photo says, full visual fluffy to a female non-fluffy, not a carrier. What can I expect? And the answer is, all fluffy carriers. No fluffies. All fluffy carriers. Really straightforward.
Now, if you do a fluffy carrier to a full fluffy, you will get half and half.
Yep.
Half full fluffies, half fluffy carriers.
And the other one you could do is a half fluffy carrier to a fluffy carrier, and you would get
A quarter of them will be full fluffies, and the other quarter will be fluffy carriers, and then the rest will be your good old regular short hair French
well. So
bulldogs.
quarter full fluff is a quarter not fluffy, a half fluffy carrier.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Well, I said the rest.
Okay, maybe you did get it right.
Yeah.
I taught you well, grasshopper. Oh dear. Here's an interesting one. Kerry Harris says, if somebody's whelping a litter for you, what is the going rate from birth to 4 weeks for German Shepherds?
Those are big babies.
So, this one is, I mean, let's just
They're
have a stab at
usually
this.
ready to go home at 6 and 7 weeks.
Are they? Well, they said
Just like Labrador Retrievers.
they're talking about 4 weeks. So from birth to 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
let's.
They're not letting them go at 4 weeks.
No,
Surely
maybe they're
not.
going to take them
No.
over. We don't know, but the question was, what's the going rate for 4 weeks worth from when they're born until?
Everybody has different prices all over the place.
So let's just
I
discuss
would
a little.
make sure I choose somebody that you definitely trust. Check them out.
This is going
If
to
you
take the
don't
rest.
know them.
This is going to take the rest of this video right here, because this is an interesting one right here.
Because there's been a lot of whelpers that have been out there that haven't done their job.
Yes.
And a lot of people lost puppies over this. And
Or got puppies that got sick and they had to go bail them
they
out.
didn't know how to do it.
So now we're getting into the meat of this thing. So the first thing is this: how do you choose a whelper? So it's not just what do you pay a whelper, but should you choose? So let's talk about the choosing a whelper, because that's the much easier one to answer. The paying part's harder. So how do you choose a whelper? What do you think?
My kids have been the best whelpers.
Well, I know, but we're going to talk about that
And then we
too.
had a worker that's been with us for
Yes, but how?
7 years, so he's been doing it for 5 years for us. It's like, how do you choose a whelper? Make sure that they know what they're doing.
Yes, that's it. That's the answer. That is it. It's the first thing is you don't want to have somebody say, "Oh, I'll whelp your puppies for you." You've never done it before. That's not what you want. You don't want them to learn how to whelp
somebody
puppies.
that's had plenty of experience in it.
Yes, because there is quite a bit to this. So
There's a lot.
this is what you'd want as a whelper. People want us. We're not doing it for you. Don't call us up. We're not. But what you want is somebody who's been through this, who's got the equipment on hand, that they have an incubator, they have an oxygen machine, that they understand these various things that can go wrong and how to treat them. That's what you want in your whelper. You want somebody. If you go to a whelper and you say, "Do you have an incubator?" and they say no, and it's a Frenchie, you probably don't want that person because they're not vested in it. If they don't have an oxygen machine, you probably don't want that whelper because they're not vested in it. Because if you need those things, you need those things right now. You don't need them tomorrow, you need them now. So I think that's the first thing, is that you can find out whether somebody's a good whelper.
Ask for references.
Yes, well, that's another thing. That's another great thing, isn't it? As well. Okay, so what we're saying is, you want somebody. This is not their first rodeo. That they've invested, a few $1,000+ in equipment to do this. And then the next thing is to have a conversation about how they go through the whelping process. What do they expect? That they can lead you up as to the various different benchmarks that you expect to happen when they're a week old, when they're 2 weeks old, when they're 3 weeks old, when they're 4 weeks old. What do you expect to do?
Ask a lot of questions.
How often will it be around? I mean, if you've got, how many other dogs will there be in there that are being whelped? I mean, I don't necessarily want my dogs whelped when there are other dogs that might get in trouble. I don't want to get, a whelper gets in trouble and you've got all kinds of infection going on. The next thing you know, your dogs have got that. So I think those are questions, So if somebody's whelping just for you, you're going to pay more money for them. They're going to make money. They've got a job that's going to consume them. They're going to be in their house the majority of the time for the next 4 weeks looking after your puppies. So let's just assume that we're going to have a litter of German Shepherds, because that's what we're talking about here. These are bigger dogs. When they get to be 4 weeks old, they're going to be pooping and crapping all over the place. It's going to be some work.
It amazes me how some people say, "Oh, it's so easy." They've never done it before, and they go, "Oh, it'll be easy," and make money on top of it. There's not so easy parts in it.
It's work.
It is work.
And it can be, especially if they're your puppies, then you've really got a vested interest to get it right. When there's somebody else's puppies, the incentive might not be there as much. So this is why I'm talking about this.
You need to do your part on checking up to see how they're doing.
So the next thing is, when you come to us and ask that question, who whelps for us? The answer is we, Tammy and me. We whelp. Now, we don't have a lot of dogs. We've got 2 dogs in the house, and one of them is going to be maybe whelped by us and maybe by Chanel, and the other one actually turned out not pregnant. It was a younger dog, and that would have been whelped by our daughter Chanel. So we've got
and then our worker,
and then we've got Lee, who's been working at My Breeder Supply for the last 6 years.
He's been 7 years.
7
and
years.
He's whelped for us for 5 years.
Well, for 5 years. So he's learned this through us, basically. So what do we pay? Well, we don't give a flat rate. We give a portion of the sales of the puppies, and it's sizable. I mean,
but they need to do their part too. Taking pictures, taking videos, doing FaceTime.
So this is all part of that equation, isn't it?
And remember, practice makes perfect when you're taking pictures.
If you look at Chanel, our daughter,
you want to look at what you took to see if you like that.
Yes. So if you look at our daughter Chanel, she's very experienced at this. She takes great pictures. Mm-hmm. She talks to customers. Mm-hmm. She really looks after the dogs. She gets half the money. That's a lot of money. I mean, it depends on what, if you're producing dogs that are rare colors for Frenchies, it's a lot of money. But there's 2 reasons why we pay that amount. First off is we love our daughter, and we like her being part of this. And the second is she really works hard at it.
Everything. She is a mama hen. She's way worse than I am. She's just a mama hen.
She was a mama hen. You might lose a puppy.
I know.
And so that's it's not.
She's very thorough. She's very detailed.
Very detailed. So that is the one end of this whole thing. So what would you expect to pay for this? Well, I think that realistically, you've got somebody who's going to spend, maybe 20 hours a day, and they're going to spend 20 minutes out of every of those 20 hours. So if you work out the hours for that is they're spending about 8 hours a day for you, looking at, especially for the first week. So what should that pay? At $20 an hour, that's $160 a day. That's a couple of $1,000. Am I right on this? That's about $1,500 a week. So for 4 weeks for your, this could be $6,000. We're paying more than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chanel will, before she calls us, she Googles.
She knows everything.
She looks at the stool sample. She's checking the puppies out. She's, Googling it and see if it matches up to that. And,
Yes.
And then she'll call James, and go, okay, this, and I Googled it up. What do you think?
And then it's either, well, I'm coming over to take a look.
I wish a lot of people would do what she does.
Yeah, so that's but she's a premium service. And I mean, I'm not saying that you don't call Chanel up and ask her to do this. She's not going to do it for you. I don't know, she might, but
I wish a lot of people would.
But I think
before they call.
I think realistically, I think that the low end of this is something in the order of $100 a day would be the low end. That's $700 a week. That's for 4 weeks. That would be something in the order of $3,000. I think that's the low end. That's the low end. With Chanel or Lee, when they're doing this for us, they're doing it from when the puppies are born until the puppies leave. That might be 10 to 12 weeks later. So they're and they've got to be around for the first week. They have to be there all the time. I mean, you can go do other things around the house. It isn't like you can't go out and run off to Walmart day 2 and be gone for half an hour, but you can't be gone for 3 hours. So this is it's a lot of work, and either you've got to take it on yourself or you need to hand it over to somebody that you can trust. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the most important part about this, is that you've got to have somebody who is experienced, and to make it, you got to make it worth their while, because if it's not worth their while, they might do a shoddy job for you.
And anymore, you need to make sure that they've got security cameras too.
Yes, there's other things that can happen here. So there's other things. That's exactly right. All right. So.
And Chanel's very cautious about that.
Maybe she's taking a left turn.
Yep, to go north. Right.
Oh, this is. Okay. No. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead of the game. Yeah, so look, there's 15. That's a good question. We haven't had that question before. I'm going to do a whole separate video of that at some point because I think it's a pretty interesting question. But why don't you all chime in on what you are paying for this? Because I can guarantee there are people out there who are paying a lot less money. But to me, it's all about the results. The money aspect of it, of course, is not unimportant. But
I left out something: a security camera and a great big dog. That's
and a gun.
Great.
And a gun.
Yeah, and a gun.
And well, at least some wasp spray.
Yeah, wasp spray, gun.
I mean, this is one of
whatever.
these things that you
great
don't
big
want to.
dog. Chanel's got all that.
He does. Well, this is also some of those things that you don't want to go start telling people what you're doing because these days, at this day and age, people can come and break in and do some bad things to you and your puppies. Well, they won't do things to your puppies. They'll steal your puppies and do bad things to you. Don't get yourself in danger. Don't get yourself in danger. Anyway, there we go. But chime in on what you're paying on this because I think other people would like to know.
It's not just with Frenchies. It's with every breed.
No, well, exactly. I mean, look, the amount of money that you spend is somewhat going to be determined by the size of the litter. Look, you got a litter of 10 dogs. It's definitely more worth than a litter of 3, right? And a litter of 3, high dollar Frenchies could be considerably different than a litter of 3, pound puppies that don't demand the same price. I'm not saying that they're not worthwhile. That's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying is the level of care that you get is somewhat commensurate with what the outcome is. You can take a bigger risk in certain situations, otherwise you can't. So, there we go. Anything else to add to this? We talked this one to death.
Yep.
We will play you back on the next one.
Well, call us up for a full fluffy carrier and good old regular French bulldogs. Babies.
Don't call us up for a whelping service.
Every once in a while we have adults.
Yes, but don't call us up for whelping service. We don't do that.
No.
We do it for ourselves.
Do your research.
It's too much work.
Yeah.
Fun work though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Story.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.